Hey, what's up everybody? We're back at it. 67 Nova. We got the axles to finish up. Gonna finish welding these on and then weld up the diff and then get the axles in there, get it back up underneath there. I got some parts for the steering, some new joints for well, I need a razor. Well, I don't know where my razors are. Got some U-joints for the steering column to hook up to the rack and pinion. Might put that on today. And we might jump back here, cut this out, fix this, all of this. I have to see how far it goes back. I noticed a hole inside of here. Don't know if you can see that or not, but looks like somebody already patched it. I'll get that taken care of. But let's get on these axles first, get them done, and get them back in the car. Had one of the bolts break off inside there, so I'm gonna have to go pick up some new bolts. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We put a root pass on there and then a hot pass on it. Should be pretty good now. Let this cool down, and then we'll get this back on there. I'm probably gonna have to go get some more diff fluid. I'm actually gonna strain that because that's brand new. Like I haven't ran that at all. It's brand new, so I'm just gonna strain it, get that stuff out of there. I had to clean out the inside. I forgot to clean the tubes before I welded them on there, so cleaned all that out. We'll get this axle back up underneath there, get the brakes on there, and then we'll move on to probably, here's the steering joint that I was telling you about. It's just, I think it's like 1 inch to 3/4 or something like that. It's supposed to go on there, and then this will attach to here, and then we've got steering. And then I got, like I said, the new brake booster and this part. Got this new part in the mail, so might put that on. I did find out why the Por 15 didn't stick all that well. I put it on when it was, I guess, a little chilly outside. I didn't know nothing about that. I guess you're supposed to put it on when it's warmer. That's why it's peeling off. So I'll wait for it to get warm outside. I gotta undercoat the bottom of this anyways, so we'll wait till it gets a little bit warmer outside. I have to sand all this down and prime and paint it. I can't do any of that right now, but I can do the brakes, get this axle back in there. I gotta hop on over to the other side of the car. And then we will work on getting this door jamb better than it is. Actually, I think on this one, all I have to do is cut out and then pull this back, because it isn't straight, but I did get all this welded in. I mean, that's pretty much, it's not far from being done. If you can tell, it's got a bow in it right there. I mean, it latches good and everything. We just got to make up the gap in here. Finish this. Then I guess we can start working on the engine and transmission. But let me get this back on there. I don't know. I'm not going to put the fluid back in it for now because I don't have all the bolts. One of the bolts broke, so they're all kind of weakened bolts. They lost their tensile strength, I guess is what you'd say. But we'll go ahead and put this back on, get it up underneath there.
gonna have to stop here soon and clean up all this mess. I'm not even using half this stuff for the motor, so I think I need to clean this shop up. But all right, so think I got it. It's just they give you so many brackets, I guess because they're for other cars. I mean, I think this is where your hose goes, your brake line hose. I think that would go, I don't know. I think that's right, I'm not sure. That's what they're saying though. That's how it goes. Okay. On to the other side. Tight in here, like a tiger. Normally they give you some more room, but since we narrowed the axle, or since I narrowed the axle, you ain't got no room. None.